Join me as I make some all-purpose flour from freshly milled flour and a vanilla bundt cake. Welcome to White Shadow Fare. Make it homemade and make it with love. Start by milling your hard white, your soft white, and your spelt. This is an attachment to my Bosch mixer, but there are other ways to sift as well. This machine just has brushes that go over top of a sifting screen. All right, another thing I like to do is I do own some sifting screens. You can buy these online. You can find them in some specialty stores as well. So I fill the top of my sifter with my fresh milled flour. This is a very, very fine mesh, so it takes quite a while. So it's saving my arms a lot of work. But most of the time that I'm sifting my flour, I just really need to get the largest pieces out. And so I just use a handheld sifter for that. And that is all there is to making homemade all-purpose flour. And then at this point, you should have some beautiful flour, very fine. In the very front is my spelt, my soft white, and my hard white. Behind it is some of the flour that I didn't sift as finely, and then the wheat berries in the back. And all I'm going to do is blend this by thirds. 1 cup of flour, 1 cup of spelt, 1 cup of soft white, and mix that together. So now I'm going to go ahead and make my vanilla cake using what I just made. So you need 1 cup of very soft butter, 2 cups of cane sugar so it's less processed. Regular sugar would work fine too. And here I noticed that, hey, my butter wasn't as soft as I thought it was. My kitchen was quite cold, and I know that's kind of a pain in the neck, but sometimes softening your butter in the microwave is just the wrong thing to do. So I just took my time and creamed my butter quite well. Once it starts getting combined together, you can mix it until it comes into almost a paste, and then you'll start adding a few more ingredients. Now the reason I'm sifting out some of the bran to make this cake is not everybody in my family loves how sometimes things are freshly milled. They kind of have a little bit of a grit to them, and cake is one of those areas where I can totally understand that. So I'm adding 1/4 of a cup of avocado oil, or any neutral oil would work, a tablespoon of vanilla extract. You'll notice that it will blend and mix very nicely at this point. That added oil really makes a big difference. That oil is there for moistness, and this does end up being a very moist cake. So you're going to scrape down the bowl as necessary. And what I like about this all-purpose flour mix is I was able to make a huge batch, and I went ahead and put it in little packages so that I have it for the future. 3 room temperature eggs, you're going to add them 1 at a time, mixing after each addition. So I took 1 cup of spelt, 1 cup of hard white wheat, and 1 cup of soft wheat, and put it in a package, mixed it together, and then froze it that way so that I have it for future uses when I want to make something special for my family. But for the everyday stuff that I'm making, if I want to just get rid of a little bit of the grit, I just use a very easy handheld sifter that I can sift through very quickly, and it just gets out the largest of it. So 1 teaspoon of baking powder is going to get added to this, along with a 1/2 teaspoon of salt, and then a 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda. And once you have that mixed in, you will turn on your mixer again and get it completely incorporated, scrape down as well, and then we're going to be ready to add that flour. Flour is going to be 1/3 spelt, 1/3 hard white wheat, and 1/3 soft white wheat mixed together. And I'm using a total of 2 3/4 cups of that mixture, along with 3/4 of a cup of buttermilk. So I'm going to alternate back and forth between a little bit of the flour and the buttermilk. Now, making all-purpose flour from freshly milled flours is wonderful, and it's a great way to get certain cakes and cupcakes and cookies done without having the grit in them that you might have from fresh milled flour, but still getting all the nutrients. But the one problem that you're going to have is you're never going to be able to make these super soft cakes that you've had from before. So you'll have to think about what cakes you want to make it work out perfectly. So something like a white cake might not work for you, or an angel food cake might be kind of difficult. In those cases, you might want to go back to all-purpose flour, or you might just say, hey, we're not including that in our meal plan. So here I am getting the Bundt pan prepared. I'm just spraying it with some grease that has the flour in it. I find that to be the easiest for something like a Bundt pan that has all those grooves. And I am doling out my very thick batter here. This is going to make such a moist, wonderful cake. So I've got the oven preheating to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. And once I have this all spread out into the oven, it will go. Now my family has been enjoying things a little less sweet lately, but when it's done and cooled, you could drizzle some frosting over the top, not only for a decorative reason, but to give it a little more sweetness. But we chose to eat ours just the way that it was, and we thought it was completely delicious. So you're going to let it cool before you put any frosting on it. So moist, so tender on the inside, highly recommend. Just proves that you can make real cake with freshly milled flour. So I hope that you'll give it a try. Thank you for joining me here at White Shadow Fare.